Hello, friends, family, faculty, and most importantly, students. In my first week of college, I turned 28 years old. When I got my first acceptance letter to a 4-year university just a couple months ago, I was 30. I was smart in high school, but I dropped out of the traditional high school setting when I was 16, and I did home studies through a continuation high school instead. I was a musician and I didn't have time for school. Wasn't a priority then, and college wasn't even a thought. When you graduate through a continuation high school, nobody asks you if you have plans for the future. So I honestly never thought that I would ever be here. But my stepmom and my dad afforded me this opportunity, and so I decided to finally give it a shot. Now, I'm not a traditional college student, as I'm sure is the case for many of you receiving your degrees and certificates today. Many of you have jobs, families, and responsibilities outside of school. Many of you have lives that just don't really work with a standard college existence. We don't live on campus, and our focus can't always only be on school, and that can make things really difficult for a college student. See, I remember when I finally decided to go to college, leaving my work in the nonprofit sector, moving back home to Riverside at 28, people just assumed that I was going into grad school at UCR due to my age and the nature of the work that I did. And I always found myself responding to that assumption with, well, no, right now I'm just at the community college, and being kind of ashamed of that. But if there is anything that I've learned from my time here, it's that there is nothing just about attending Riverside City College. My time here has changed me and shaped me and helped forge this really clear and beautiful path for my future. I've had the privilege of being challenged and tested, pushed and encouraged to constantly be better, to take it further by incredible professors. Professors who care about their students and who take the time to teach and provide just truly immense support. Here at RCC, I took statistics and calculus courses with Professor Pell, Professor Denson, Professor Neighbors, courses, but more importantly, professors who helped me realize that I was capable of so much more than I thought that I was. I was given the opportunity to take astronomy with Dr. Russell and helped form and lead the astronomy club here on campus, which has been one of the absolute highlights of my time here. I got to be the first person in Professor Swanson's psychology class to not miss a single question or point the entire semester. He called it a whole new branch of the 100% Club, to which I was, and I believe still am, the sole member. I was privileged to be taught by incredible professors. But most importantly for me, I was able to take biological psychology with Dr. Ruiz, which changed everything. See, I knew going into college that I wanted to go into clinical counseling with a focus in substance abuse. But taking biological psychology with Dr. Ruiz helped me realize that I wanted to take it a little bit further than that, and that I was capable of taking it further than that. And that was the course that made me realize that I wanted to go to medical school. So 10 years ago, I was essentially a high school dropout, a musician with no prospects for the future. And today I sit here before you having been accepted to multiple UCs, but having been awarded the prestigious Regent Scholarship at UCR, where I'll be transferring and continuing my education and work towards my degree in psychology, and completing the pre-med track so that I can continue on to hopefully go to medical school. A dream that my young, naive musician self would have never expected. See, because the community college system caters to non-traditional students like myself and so many of you, I was given a chance to finally live up to my potential. I was given an opportunity to not only find my path, but to jump on it full force and excel in a way that I never thought was possible. And I know that I'm not alone in that achievement. I know that so many of you today worked hard despite your jobs, your kids, your families, your responsibilities, and even the dreaded pandemic that has turned all of our educational journeys and lives upside down. None of us really know what the future holds, but we worked hard for our education anyways, and we did it. So whatever journey lies ahead of you, you can be proud of what you've already accomplished, because for many of us, it is on par with a miracle. And like I said, there was nothing just about it. We worked for it, and we did it. So to the people in our lives who made us feel like we could, thank you. To the professors and other support faculty here at RCC who helped us along the way and helped us gain these new, beautiful neural connections in our brains, thank you. And to every student who is celebrating this massive accomplishment today, congratulations.
Hello, class of 2020. I would like to thank the committee for allowing me to bring this message to you. Thank you to all the people who have supported us, family, friends, administration, and faculty. Let's take a minute to thank the administrators for their quick response in keeping us safe from COVID-19, and give ourselves a hand as we persevere and stay committed to our educational success through this quarantine. I'm grateful to be standing here among the illustrious class of 2020. As tigers, we are accountable to lead a pack, but it's our tiger roar that will awaken and inspire change within ourselves and our communities. Along my journey, it has been brought up to my attention that gratitude is an action word. Cesar Chavez stated, "Talk is cheap. It is the way we organize and use our lives every day that tells what we believe in." I'm an immigrant from Mexico. My parents immigrated to California in 1972 when I was at the age of 3. I belong to a Partnership Partners program. During my junior and high school years, what is called ABIT, I was enrolled in college prep classes but didn't have the resources necessary to succeed. My parents didn't speak English and never attained a driver's license, so I gave up on my educational goals because it was difficult for them to participate in my educational aspirations. I worked for a convalescent hospital to help out with household finances and ran around a group of fellows. That led me into a revolving lifestyle of chaos in institutions. And being gang-related closed me off from society and experiencing true freedom. I have been happily married for 18 years. I'm a father to 2 beautiful daughters, ages of 21 and 24. Blessed to be a grandfather to a 4-year-old who was born with spina bifida. My life was altered because I had to give up my career at a grocery store after I experienced a brain aneurysm in 2001. Once I recovered from my brain aneurysm, the principles I attained had to be implemented into practice. These principles were bestowed upon me through an altruistic movement that Mahatma Gandhi once said, one of the greatest movements in history. My career goal is to become a marriage family therapist. Today, I will be receiving my associate's degree in psychology, and I will be transferring to Cal State University, San Bernardino, where I will continue to pursue my education in achieving my bachelor's and master's degree in psychology. A high school automotive teacher left an impression in my life when he tried visiting me in an institution so that I could continue my education. That impression helped me to motivate me into pursuing my education at the age of 47 years old. I was at a crossroads in determining my future career path, which has led me into this journey with my fellow alumni. My experiences through this tenure at RCC have shaped me into being of service to society, this great nation, and the world. World religion and history classes have exemplified the courage and persistence of our ancestors, opening my mind to various cultures, races, and beliefs that make this country great. With the pandemic of COVID-19, we must continue to persevere and take care of ourselves. I want to give what was freely given to me by being an innovator to tomorrow's youth. My hope for our youth is that they would take advantage of our educational resources available at this moment. For the late bloomers like myself, I would like to say education is the key to our freedom. Let's not give in to our fears or insecurities. Let us instead continue to pursue our dreams and goals for life. The resources available at the campus have shown me that our community is producing miracles. The work and effort from our faculty that keep this programs producing, the philanthropists who continue to donate financial stability. Being a recipient of financial aid and scholarships have eased stress and worries of daily life. Participation in resources like EOPS, TRIO, La Casa have paved my way into attaining my degree. As a student working for EOPS program outreach, it has allowed me to be in contact with many of our fellow alumni, as we encourage each other shoulder to shoulder with the purpose to succeed. Those late nights we spent trying to finalize our research essays, whether they were MLA or APA, the importance of marginalization and citing. Professor Yeep, meeting students at the Math Learning Center before and after class as we crunched numbers and statistics. Let's not forget that story about shark fishing in the middle of the night on the first day of class. Professor Lee holding study groups to encourage and help us seek resources for our meta-analysis and data analysis experiments. Professor K from World Religion for checking on my progress through this journey as we cross paths in the hallway. We are blessed by this faculty and administration in achieving our goals. I will leave you with this quote from Cesar Chavez. You cannot uneducate the person who has learned to read. You cannot humiliate the person who feels pride. You cannot oppress the people who are not afraid anymore. May you find your purpose and continue to trudge as we pursue our own paths. Congratulations and thank you, class of 2020.
Last year, I visited the Grand Canyon for the first time. As I stood at the South Vista Point and began to gaze upon the canyon, the sun began to set and snow started to fall. At that moment, nothing could seem more perfect. As I took in the view, my professor began to describe the 40 major rock layers that compose this national park. Struck with astonishment, I could not help but listen in. The more I learned and the longer I looked, the more apparent these layers became. Each layer had its own set of cuts and cracks. While some were peaks, towering over others, some were valleys, the lowest spot during that time. From a distance, some gave way to life, while some were simply spots of debris. Much like the canyon, our college experience involves multiple layers. While our layers are more so semesters, where we juggle unfamiliar courses, surprises from daily life, and the need to have a little bit of personal time, we have found a way to accomplish each one. I stood at the viewpoint for well past 10 minutes, and that actually reminded me, it is only those who linger on that notice each layer. It is only you who has witnessed the dedication and work it has taken to get here. My layers forced me to adjust, because so often I would find my techniques ineffective, leaving me to reevaluate and try something different. There were highs, such as passing classes that showed me I had more potential than I thought, areas of life where I discovered my passion alongside everlasting friendships keeping me going. And there were lows, because at one point, calculus seemed so impossible that maybe I'd be unfit for my major. Ultimately, this was followed by debris, where I broke down questioning if I had the strength. Yet the hardest challenge was changing my mindset. For so long, I compared my journey to whether or not I was keeping up with those around me. Never did I stop to think that my journey should reflect myself, regardless of what others thought. It was okay for me to move at my own pace and to stumble. If I hadn't, I wouldn't be this proud, happy, nor excited for what's to come. I believe we are all tested to adjust, because to live life is to overcome while being yourself. Not every idea, action, or attempt will prove successful, but it isn't a defeat. It is a chance to see what else you got. I am no longer afraid to dictate my journey. And as I move on, I foster those to do as I would, to remind themselves, it is your path. The Grand Canyon did not appear overnight. Rather, it took years to form itself to become what we call the Grand Canyon. It was not the hues of purple and blues as the sun set. It was not the fact that the snow took away from my already freezing feet, nor was it seeing the vastness of the canyon that made it perfect. It was understanding the canyon's development that transformed it into something more. It is perfect with witnessing my layers build upon each other, giving me strength, knowledge, and the ability to accept more to come. Never would I be so ready to leave RCC, knowing I have found my capabilities, but more importantly, my weaknesses. It is here where I found my path guided by caring faculty, enlightened by peers, and pushed to the extent of never giving up, all because of a professor saying, "You're almost there." Our future better be ready for the goals we throw at it, because the future's challenges will not defeat us. Instead, we will accomplish each one in strides, refining ourselves here and there. At some point, I had to let go of the rail, step away from the view, and make my way back to the van. There were plenty of individuals ready to experience their gaze, and who am I to disrupt that moment when mine had been fulfilled? The canyon had done its part. There was not much more it could do until I had taken the next step. Back in the van, I was warm, tired, and instantly fell asleep. It wouldn't be until I was home, sitting at my desk, finishing some last-minute homework, because it didn't get done on the trip, that I would find myself impacted. Sitting here today, I am impacted by our accomplishments. Whether they are moving on as a transfer or receiving your associates, we have all added a new layer, and that is something to congratulate. Thank you.
The definition of underdog is a competitor thought to have little chance of winning a fight or contest. I feel that I've been an underdog myself throughout my life. In high school, I barely earned my diploma. I graduated near the minimum required GPA. I have a learning disability that used to hinder me quite a bit, in addition to crippling anxiety and depression. Despite this, after high school, I decided I would try pursuing higher education. So, in the fall of 2012, I enrolled in only one class at Riverside City College, and I quickly withdrew from it. The next semester, I enrolled in one class and I got an F. The semester after that, I got 2 C's and a D, and withdrew from 2 other courses. Ironically, I withdrew from public speaking, yet here I am speaking at my commencement ceremony. Eventually, I dropped out of school. I moved to New York City. I did some world exploration, some self-exploration, but I ended up sleeping on an air mattress in a kitchen/living room/hallway in the heart of Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn. I told myself that school's not for me. I was going to figure out how to get through life without going to college until I found what I really wanted to do and realized that I'd need to go to college for that specific career. After moving back to California, I found myself re-enrolling again at RCC. Shortly after that, I began to mentally feel down again and alone in a school full of strangers. During the first year of re-enrolling at RCC, I attempted suicide. Twice. It was not until I found Soch Club on campus that I started to feel a sense of purpose and desire to be here every day. I then worked my GPA up to a 3.65, and I'm about to transfer to UCLA to further my education and become a researching professor. In the words of 50 Cent, the underdog is on top. I've always enjoyed helping people, and being a part of this club made me feel like I was contributing to my community. At the beginning of my second year, I was elected Soch Club president. Soch is a double acronym. It is short for sociology, but it also stands for Students Orchestrating Change. Some of the events we put together included suicide prevention panels, sexual assault awareness events, anti-racism seminars, protests, amongst a long list of other things. The goal of the club was to make the community we live in a better place. In this club, I met multiple students who were dreamers under the DACA program and listened to how terrified they were to know that their status in this country, the only country they know is home, could be temporary. One of my club members, who ended up becoming one of my best friends, migrated here from Mexico with his family when he was only 9 years old. He lived with his aunt and was supported by his parents, who were street vendors and sold tamales to make a living. He's a first-generation college student and is now studying sociology at UCR. Another club member and good friend of mine migrated here from Mexico when she was only 3 years old. She has recently become not only the first of her family to earn a college degree, but the first nurse in her family as well. Soch Club has collaborated on events for many different types of students dealing with a wide array of issues. We worked with Transitioning Minds, a club designed to help students who were formerly incarcerated or impacted by the discriminatory and unjust prison system in this country. I met a student who had spent over 19 years in prison, with 15 of those in solitary confinement. He was expelled in junior high. He never went to high school, yet he taught himself the law, assisted in organizing one of the largest and longest prisoner-led hunger strikes in the nation, and successfully sued California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation several times on his own without any assistance from an attorney. He started going to RCC in 2017 upon his release from prison, and was recently just accepted to UC Berkeley. What I'm really trying to get at here is that RCC is home to many underdogs. For many of us, the odds were stacked against us, but we persevered through some of life's most challenging obstacles and are successful nevertheless. And all of our paths are so unique that I cannot summarize all of them into only a few words, so I'm not even going to try. But I think it is important for all of you watching to remember the times that you found the hardest, where you thought of giving up, but you didn't. I also think you should remember the fun times with your friends and the people that are graduating with you today. Remember the good times you had with the friends and family who are no longer with us. And never forget moments like these that make all the hard work worth it. With the help of everyone in Soch Club and Sociology Department of RCC, during March of last year, we were able to bring the anti-racist activist and educator Jane Elliott to our school. What I learned most from Jane is that you never know what it's like to live the life of another person. Empathy only goes so far. Learning from her made me rethink the way that I look at the world and has motivated me to pursue a career in sociological research. With this wisdom, I can conclude that despite all the different experiences that we've all lived, despite all the different hoops that each one of us had to jump through to get here, the one thing that we do have in common is that we've made it here today. But this is not the end. The word commencement actually means a beginning or a start, which means this is just the beginning of the rest of our lives. So as we celebrate this milestone, let us not forget that we have just arrived. Our lives have just started. Let us make the most of it. Never forget to remain humble and to always practice empathy. Congratulations, class of 2020, and go Tigers!